Welcome back to another Field Tested Friday, and today we're going to be talking about the Rogers 3-man Goosebuster A-frame blind. This blind was released in the fall of 2019, and I was fortunate enough to be one of the first people to get their hands on it and start hunting with it. I used this blind in probably 85% of my hunts from September in teal season all the way to the middle of February to the end of goose season. So this thing has had probably at least 30 hunts on it, and it's seen a lot of use and abuse throughout this past season. So let's go ahead and get this thing set up, and I'll give you guys an overview of what this blind looks like. When you first look at this blind after using an avian blind, you're like, this is a little bit different, and it is. But something I really like about this Rogers blind is how easy it is to set up. It uses circle tubing instead of square tubing, and you can snap them together, but then you can also spin it to make it fit. So you got two end pieces, and it's easy to tell which ones they are because on mine they're the muddiest, but they also have this. They've got the right angles and then the 45 pieces. So those are your end pieces. And then there's also 4 of these rods like this. They've got the short ends. And then there's 2 of the big top pieces like that. Something about the top pieces is they have a snap, okay? So it snaps in and locks in, and that makes it so then the blind can be picked up and moved really easily. But it also makes a difference on which way these face when putting the blind together. So what I like to do is take these ones with the shorts and put them on first, on the bottom. Here's a little closer look of how it goes together. You've got this tall rod that goes all the way down, and you also got the short rod. The short one's for the inside pipes, right there and right there. And then this one can be a little tricky to put together by yourself, but remember I said that's got that button there? There's a little hole on the back side that button goes through. So you can just go ahead, press the button in, snap it down. So that's how simple the framing is to put together. I know on the avian, nothing clicks together and stays together. It feels just kind of rickety, but with the Rogers blind, check this out. There's nothing rickety about this thing. You can just pick it up and move it, and it stays in place, which I absolutely love. There's so many times when you need to pick up the blinds and move them and adjust them, and this Rogers blind, guys, it's phenomenal for that. So let's go ahead and put the cover on, but I want to show you something about how it attaches. If you are familiar with the avians, they have like a little hook on here that goes over a post, and then it's got Velcro. Well, the Rogers blind, it's a little different. It's got Velcro all across the top. Now these big ones are your main supports, okay? So that's what holds up most of the weight. These little guys just kind of help out. So when you put it together, you want to attach these big ones first. There's 2, there's one on that side, one on this side, and then you come back through and attach the little ones. Ta-da! And this is what it looks like when it's all set up. Now check this out. I don't generally clip anything other than the top doors when I'm hunting. The doors don't close all the way. I've never seen an A-frame where the doors will actually all clip together while it's grassed in and looking good for hunting. So I usually just clasp the top ones. But check this out, guys. Oh no, we need to move the blind? Hold on a second, not a big deal. I got this. That is like one of my biggest favorites about this blind is it stays together and you can move it and it's not a big deal. Gosh, that's awesome. But it's got a pretty nice cover. It comes in max 5. It's got stubble straps all the way down, and then it's got pockets on the bottom. So let me see if I can get a good video of this here. So yeah, we got a little pocket right here that your grass can go into. I get tons of questions about what kind of grass this is or what I use to cover my A-frames. This is literally just grass. It is grass from like a pasture or a ditch or somewhere where there's tall grass growing, and I cut some down and I put it on my blind. It's not any special fancy buy it from a store grass. This is just like wild growing, chop it down in the ditch by where I'm hunting kind of grass. Now, if you guys are interested in picking up one of these blinds, unfortunately, it is not available on the Rogers website at this point. They're out of stock and they won't be in stock again until this fall. And there's gonna be some new things coming out with this blind in the fall. They're gonna be doing some improvements and making it better. And hopefully I'll be able to get one of those blinds when they come out and do a video showing you guys. But this is last year's model. The one coming out this fall is gonna be pretty close to the same as this one, with just a few minor details being changed. Let's go ahead and dive on into the inside of the blind and check it out. Well, hey down there. This is a blind that's built to fit 3 people comfortably. As you can see on the front side, I always put it on the front because it's more convenient for everybody inside the blind. But on the front, we've got pockets. We got 4 of them. So you can keep your drinks in there, your shells. I've put my phone in there, anything you want. It's just a pocket for whatever. And it's kind of nice to have that, especially if you've got a Yeti cup and you don't want it to spill. I know sometimes you set something on the ground and then you look over and it's knocked over and spilled everywhere. The Yeti cups fit well in there, so does a monster can, if you're wondering. As you guys have probably seen in some of my videos, there's no gun rests on this blind. So if you just lean your gun up against this, it will slide and fall. Okay? I've seen it happen a lot of times. What I tell people to do when I hunt with them is put your gun under the bar and in front of the cover. That way it just sits on the cover. If it slides, it gets stopped by the Velcro on the sides, and if we're getting birds working in, you're gonna have your gun out and in your hand ready to go. So that makes that no gun rest problem resolved. I would like to see gun rests on this blind in the future though. As you guys can tell, this is a very big and spacious blind. It's built to fit 3 people, but you can squeeze 4 if you got a bunch of little guys with you. So it's a very wide footprint, and I like that because if it starts getting narrower, it just feels so much tighter, okay? So it's got a really wide footprint. You're able to fit your chair and your bag, and everything is comfortable, and you're not feeling cramped when you got 3 guys in here. When you get 4 guys in one of these, you do feel a little bit cramped, but it's not the end of the world. 3 guys fits perfectly. It's very important to have top cover in these blinds. You can get away in the early season with not having it, but later in the season you're gonna wanna have grass sitting over the top of this hole. So I'm lucky enough to find some of this really nice wispy grass, and you just lay it on there and it just folds right over and it works great. Plus it's not super pokey, so I know you guys have probably all encountered that when you get some grass that just absolutely stabs you, like some big blue stem or Indian grass. That stuff kind of hurts. But this wispy grass works great, and it helps give you some top cover and some depth to where the birds aren't able to see in. Now this is post-season. This has been kind of used and abused, and it needs touched up before I hunt it next. So why choose an A-frame over a layout blind? I personally like A-frames better because they're more comfortable. You've got a way to hide 3 guys very easily, and you don't have to worry about one guy not having their blind brushed in good enough. You only got 1 blind to worry about brushing. You get everybody in here, you can see everybody, you can know where shooting lanes are. I honestly believe that for groups of 3 or more, A-frames are the way to go. Even 2 guys in 1 A-frame. I've done that before, and that is absolutely phenomenal. I would totally recommend 2 guys in 1 A-frame because you have so much room. It is awesome. You could like cook breakfast in here on a grill. Like, that'd be a fun little hunt. I used to hunt out of layout blinds all the time, and that was until I started using an A-frame. And I'm not kidding you guys. When I first started using them, I was amazed at how well they worked, because you look at this thing, you're like, there's no way that's gonna hide those guys, and the birds are gonna see it. You're gonna stick out super bad. But for some reason, I think it has to do with the depth perception of the birds. They're not able to see this blind. Now, when you look at this thing, you have to ask yourself, how do the birds not see this thing and see all the guys inside of it? I asked myself the same thing when I first started hunting out of these A-frames, but after my first hunt in them, I was amazed. It was like you weren't even there. It was a pretty mind-blowing experience, but it makes sense. It's very upright, and it's got a very shallow footprint, okay? So, you know, your layout blinds, you get 3 or 4 guys in layout blinds, you're taking up quite a bit of space, and there's something different. To be honest with you guys, I don't know how these work so well, but they do, and I've shot a lot of birds out of A-frames. We've stuck them out in the middle of a field and shot birds, so they work, and they work pretty well. A couple other things I like about them is you can sit in a chair. You can just sit in your nice comfy chair and just hang out with the guys and just be like, hey, how's it going? Oh, and if it's a cold day, you can put your buddy heater right in front of you and it's gonna warm you up. And if it's a windy day, like today, it's pretty windy, if you're doing it right, the wind's gonna be coming at your back. Well, you've got a great windbreak right here. So it just leads to a more comfortable hunting experience. So if you guys hunt with 3 or more guys and you still use layout blinds, why don't you guys all just pitch some money in together, $100 a person, if you got 3 guys, and you'll be able to pick up a A-frame blind, and you will love it. So that is my overview / review of the Rogers 3-man Goosebuster blind. I absolutely love it. I do not want to hunt out of any other A-frame, not because Rogers is a supporter of the channel, but because I firmly believe that this is a better A-frame than others that I have used. And I will cover the reasons why in a separate video. If you guys are interested in supporting the channel, I've got all kinds of hats and shirts and sweatshirts. There's a link in the description to take you to my website. Go ahead and pick up a hat or a shirt. It means a lot, and you guys would look cool wearing my merch anyways, so go ahead and pick one of those up. If you guys like this video, leave it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel. Ring that notification bell to stay up to date with all of the new videos coming out. And you can follow me on my social media. I've got Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and Facebook. So follow me on there and stay up to date with what's going on. But that's all I've got for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will catch you on the next one.